Alright guys, so first step once you've taken the buckets off the machine, of course, is having the drive unit facing towards the machine as per. Making sure these hoses are out of the way, so either facing down or to the side. They shouldn't be facing up directly, otherwise you're going to hit these hoses right here on the joiners, and that's where we generally get leaks from the auger hoses, is on these connection points where it goes into the drive unit. So making sure it's straight. So it's always best to have your revs right down on low when you're doing these small movements, when you're trying to pick up attachments. And when you're trying to line up for the secondary pin, you're best to have it up in the air, hanging like so. And then it makes it easy when you're just doing the final adjustments to put the pin through. So we're off a little bit here, but because we've got it hanging, we can easily lift that into place, slide your pin through really easy. Put our lock off, split pin through. Make sure that's on there. So the next step after you've put the auger drive onto the machine is hooking up the auxiliary lines to the auxiliary line on the digger. So on these 1.7 ton machines, we have a T intersection. So there is an auxiliary line here going to your tilt hitch. So the same line is what we use for our auger drive connections. So first of all, these handles here, they need to change from this horizontal position, and they're going to be moving downwards to be vertical. So we do that on both sides. So that now is in place, ready for us to put our connections in. But before we do that, we want to release the hydraulic pressure that could still be in the line. So I'll quickly show you how to do that on this 1.7 ton machine. We turn the auxiliary on. So the key, we're just turning that on so it beeps, but we're not turning the machine right on so the motor fires up. Once you've done that, pretty simple, put the dead man lever down, and we're just pressing the auxiliary control back and forth, and what that's doing is actually releasing the pressure back at the pump, which will take the pressure off the end of the hydraulic connectors, which makes it easier for connecting up. So once you've done that, we can put our hoses on. So whenever you're connecting hoses, your hydraulic couplers here, you want to make sure they're clean. So be really careful not to just throw them on dusty ground. That's how we get contaminants in the oil line, and then that's how we also wreck our hydraulic fittings, which causes headaches and means you have to stop work to fix that. So we can connect this up now. So it should pop on really easy now the pressure's dropped. So that's gone on there nice and easy. And this side as well. So you're just lifting the collar and you're on there. So that's easy as, no pressure. If you do encounter pressure on the attachment, which is quite common normally on rock breakers, that means there's still pressure, hydraulic pressure in that attachment. Now a big no-no is hitting the couplers on the poppet valve, trying to release that pressure. You will release the pressure, but you will also damage the hydraulic connection, the coupler, in doing so. The best way to release the pressure in that scenario is to get two shifters or spanners, and we're cracking it off and the pressure will release just here. So on both sides, so it's just releasing that pressure in there manually. So when we're positioning the drive unit, we'll just start up the machine. We're actually going to be lying this unit down right in front of us. So we're going to lie it down like this and just pushing down a little bit so the end of the drive unit is sitting up on an angle. So that's about a good position there. So we've got it angled up off the ground like that. slide it on into position, and then finding the hole to put your retainer pin. Sometimes you have to give it a little wiggle around, pushing your pin through, and just putting your lock off nut on, and then back into the machine. And slowly just lifting that up, and you're now commissioned, ready to start drilling your holes. So how do you actually use the auger? Well, first of all, you want to make sure you're on a level platform and you've got your blade out in front of you for stability. When you're drilling, there's a lot of pressure and you're normally out quite far with your boom. So when you're pulling up out of the hole with dirt on the drill bit, there's a tendency for the machine to crane over and be pulled into the hole. So having that blade out in front of you is vital for stability. With drilling, obviously we're not able to drill through the hard ground here, but when you start drilling, you're going to be drilling using your foot on the auxiliary, going in a clockwise motion for drilling, putting your revs up so the machine's at its highest pressure and strength for drilling. You want to make sure that it's square and plumb. So normally you'll have someone spotting you for this type of work, making sure when you're drilling down, you're doing the drill plumb and level. As you get about 600 down, depending on the material you're drilling through, you'll need to pull out the drill bit off to the side and get rid of the spoil that's now on the drill bit at each time, and repeating this to your desired depth. And that's how to use the drill.